Design. Oh.
Don't start now. Don't start now. Just fade it. I don't give you time. That time you come posting, then we don't start live now. I said it now. She did what she did. Don't start before you come away. Don't start live. Once she left here, we started.
Go sit down.
Go sit down. I might be your session. That might be the session.
The other time I was discussing rhyme. And talking about different types of rhyme. Different types of rhyme. That's what we are looking at right now. We'll be starting with I've defined rhyme. I said rhyme is the resemblance of sounds in lines of poetry. The resemblance of sounds in lines of poetry. The look-alike of sounds in lines of poetry. The similarity of sounds in lines of poetry. Now, for you to really understand what we're talking about, I said, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And I went ahead to talk about rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme comes to play when you define your rhyme, define the sound you've just heard. How? By using the letters of the English alphabet. Since you are doing literature in English, you use the English letters. If you are doing literature in Spanish, you use Spanish letters. If you are doing literature in French, you use French letters. If you are doing literature in Yoruba, you use Yoruba alphabet. Now, when you are doing your rhyme scheme, told you before, you don't use you don't use uppercase letters to write to indicate that. Use the lowercase. How do you know your rhyme scheme? How do you know your rhyme? When two lines sound alike, that means they have similar sound. I wandered lonely as a cloud. You know, this poem is Daffodils. This line's called From Daffodils by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. All right. The first line ends here. That is A. How is it A? The first sound in a rhymed verse, you put the first letter. The second sound that does not have the same sound of the first one, the second line not sounding like the first one, you put B. A, B. Now look at the third one. Sounds like the first one. You should take A. The fourth line, daffodils, sounds like hills, D. And trees, then breeze, CC. Looking at that, trying to move forward now. If you've seen that, we should look at types of rhymes. Let's see couplet rhyme. Now, when you say couplet rhyme, the first thing that will come to your mind is the word couplet. Couplet is gotten from the word couple. Couple comes to play when two things look alike. Now, when two rhyme scheme is A. So a couplet rhyme comes to play. Rhyme scheme is A. So a couplet rhyme comes to play when we have two lines having similar sound. That's a couplet rhyme. And I want to believe that one is clear. You look at the next one. I'm trying to see if we have questions that are relating to this one. While we're waiting for that, be going forward to go to the next one. The next one is triplet rhyme. Should take notes, talking about analyzing literary terms. Triplet is different from tercet, which will be seen as this lecture is moving forward. Triplet is different from tercet. The triplet, when you mention triplet in literature, we are talking about three lines. Triplet in literature talks about three lines that rhyme successively. Whereas tercet in literature is just being used to describe, to talk about a stanza of three lines, whether they have good rhymes or whether it's a free verse, whether it's rhyming or not rhyming. But three successive lines, rhyming alike, sounding alike, is called triplet rhyme. So a triplet rhyme is used to describe three lines of poetry, rhyming successively. Now, when you look at this now, you see that, for instance, when pain and sickness made me cry, who gazed upon my heavy eye, and fear for death, that I should die. Look at that. When pain and sickness made me cry, who gazed upon my heavy eye, and fear for death, that I should die. Look at that. This type of rhyme, A, A, A. We call it a triplet rhyme. Triplet rhyme. That's what we call it. Triplet rhyme. Is that clear? All right. Let's move forward to the next type of rhyme. The next type of rhyme will be alternate rhyme. Alternate rhyme. When you talk about alternate rhyme, we'll be looking at, in fact, 4 lines must be coming together here. But these 4 lines that are coming together, they'll be rhyming alternatively in opposite direction. We'll take an example from a poem written by Sir Walter Raleigh, an English poet. The title of the poem is The Soul's Errand. The Soul's Errand, written by Sir Walter Raleigh. And this poem, it says, "Go, soul, the body's guests, upon a thankless errand. Fear not to touch the best, shall be thy warrant." Look at that rhyme. If you look at that one now, you see that it's very much different from every other one we've written out, giving you the basic types of rhyme that you'll be needing in your exams. Now, go soul that body's guests. A, upon a thankless errand. B, fear not to touch the best. A, the truth shall be thy warrant. B, A, B, A, B. Any rhyme, any stanza, any group of lines that rhymes like this, you call it alternate rhyme. You call it alternate rhyme. That's what we are looking at there. Alternate rhyme. Anything like that, alternate rhyme. You see it? Now, there's something we call opening rhyme. Opening rhyme. Opening rhyme. Opening rhyme. Let me see if I can lay my hand on something. Now, opening rhyme, just as we've seen, opening rhyme in literature, in poetry, comes to play when the sound, when the sound, when the sound, when the sound is heard at the beginning of the lines. When the sound is heard at the beginning of the lines. Look at this. What's the rhyme scheme of this stanza? What's the rhyme scheme of this stanza? These two lines. What's the rhyme scheme of this one? Good. A, B, A, B. What's the rhyme scheme of this one? How is it A, A? Talk to me. How is it A, A? Talk. The answer is actually A, A, but how is it A, A? You don't just talk without... It's very simple. When I talk to you here, I said opening rhyme comes to play when the sound occurs at the beginning of the lines. That is opening rhyme, which is that's what we are seeing here. Look at the sound. For days I wept for my 4 friends whose children I know. You can see 4 and we have 4. Similarity of sounds. That's opening rhyme. Can you see that? Next one is internal rhyme. You can call it internal rhyme or you call it mid rhyme. You can call it internal rhyme or mid rhyme. Internal or mid rhyme. Internal or mid rhyme. Now, when you say internal rhyme, when a stanza has internal rhyme, when a stanza has internal rhyme, such stanza has the similarity of sounds inside the line, not at the beginning, not at the end, but inside the line. The sounds, similarity of sounds will be seen in between lines. Look at this example. Look at this example. What's the rhyme scheme of this line? I'm not saying what type of rhyme do we have there. What's the rhyme scheme? How is it A? All right. If you look at that now, you see that the resemblance of sound is neither at the beginning nor at the end, but in the middle. When you come across things like this, you call it internal rhyme or mid rhyme. Are you still there? All right. That means the rhyme scheme is A. We move to something else. There's one you call partial rhyme. I'm giving you all this one so that anytime you are going through, we are focusing on analyzing literary terms. Analyzing literary terms. Analyzing literary terms. Now, when you're talking about literary terms, for you to be seen as a student that knows what he or she is doing, loads and loads of these literary terms should be in your head. When you have a whole lot of them in your head, it will go a long way when you are discussing literature. Are you with me? Now, the next one is partial rhyme, or you call it half rhyme. Partial rhyme or half rhyme. Partial rhyme or half rhyme. Now, when you say partial rhyme, it suggests the fact that if you are not careful, you may assume or conclude that there's no rhyme because it may not sound alike. But if you look at it closely, we have similarity of sound there. Partial rhyme comes to play when the sound are not really sounding the same. They don't really look as if they are the same. But if you look at it closely, we have similarity of sound there. We have rhyme in it. Let me show you. We'll take an example from Agbo Dancer, written by John Pepper Clark. J.P. Clark, a world-class poet from Kiagbodo in Patani local government area in Delta State of Nigeria. Shout out to Nigerians, they do big things. And when you talk about one of the finest poets in the history of the world, in global history, J.P. Clark is one of them. He has written loads and loads of poems, talking about casualties, talking about Olokun. Now let's look at Agbo Dancer. The man says, see her dancing to the throb of a drum, tippling from hide-brimmed stem down linear vein to ancestral core, opening our torn limbs like fresh foliage in the sun. Now, if you look at this one, you will see that we have A here, drum. You will see that we have A here, drum and stem. They don't sound alike. But because of our, it looks as if they sound alike. Partial rhyme, half rhyme, drum, stem. So we have partial or half rhyme. For those that are not really too good with pronunciation, they will say this is score and this is son. So we have O and O, but the real pronunciation for this one is san. San. It has the, look at it. That's what you see, this sound. Ah, whereas score, this is O. You see that? Two different sounds. We have A and O. I've told us before, whenever you see the letter U sounding as O, you don't call it O, you call it A. We have example, loads and loads of example like uncle, U-N-C-L-E, my uncle is coming. We are not talking about this. This uncle, this one is uncle, not uncle. When you talk of this, we are drifting to English. This is, see that? When you talk of this is, you see that? One is uncle. One is uncle. Now, we have words like umbrella, not umbrella, umbrella. We have words like under, not under, under. That U, letter U, that sounds like O to the layman. You call it A when you are doing your pronunciation. Take note of that. Now, we've seen partial rhyme. Have you seen that? Or you call it half rhyme. So when they ask you question talking about rhyme, look at it very well. Then another one is end rhyme. End rhyme. You see, the end rhyme is very common. The most common type of rhyme. End rhyme comes to play when the similarity of sounds. For days I wept and felt depressed. For days I wept and felt depressed. Line 2. The one and all I loved had left. For days I wept and felt depressed. The one and all I loved had left. Line 3. But then on me Abil impressed. But then on me Abil impressed. Line 4. Your love is where she looks bereft. B-E-R-E-F-T. Your love is where she looks bereft. For days I wept and felt depressed. The one and all I love had left. But then on me Abil impressed. Your love is where she looks bereft. What is the rhyme scheme? We have A, B, A, B, B, A, B, A, C, A, B, C, C, D, A, B, B, C. What's the answer? No need to give you the option again. What's the rhyme scheme? Check your stanza and what's the rhyme scheme? Rhyme is common sense. Depressed. Had left. Impressed. Bereft. Anybody can do this. What's the answer? What's the rhyme scheme? Then why were you wasting time? A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Now, if you look at that statement, that poem I just read, it is an end rhyme. Do you understand? It is an end rhyme. So, while we are moving forward, I'm just trying to touch all major literary terms that you need to know. You know, I've talked about sonnets, I mentioned sonnets, and we have a whole lot, of which we'll be taking some questions later, then we'll be moving on gradually. Let me ask you this question, then from there we can play something. You can play. When you talk about characters in literature, We are looking at character. Who is a character? Who is a character? Then what is character when you are doing literature? When you hear the word character, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Character. I will let you understand that we have character, we have actor, we have persona. Are you following? We have author. Is that clear? To still add, we have casts. We have dramatis personae. Look at all of them. What we are talking about basically character. So that when you come across questions, it will be easy for you. Analyzing literary terms is a big one. It's a big issue that has been pulling students down these days, pulling them down. They find it difficult to cope when it comes to this. Literature has gone beyond reading books alone. You keep reading books, keep reading novels, and when you see some techniques that they've employed in these books, you don't know where to place them, talking about literary terms. When I started the other time, when I taught yesterday I started by defining literary terms. And while defining literary terms, I made us understand that we have 4 types of literary terms. Are you following me? I talked about dramatic terms, narrative terms, poetic terms, and general literary terms. Are you still there? Dramatic terms, narrative terms, poetic terms, and general literary terms. I said dramatic terms are basically used when you are discussing drama as a genre of literature. Is that clear? Dramatic terms are basically used when you're discussing drama as a genre of literature. Example, audience. You use audience when you are talking drama. Is that clear? The audience are the people that pass judgment while they are watching a play. The audience are those that watch the play and decide whether the play is beautiful or not. The audience are those that watch the play and talk about the characters to know whether they're doing the right thing or not. That is for drama. If you talk of narrative term, you use words, literary terms that are reserved only for prose or narrative works. Is that clear? If you mention novel, the novel is the most voluminous among the 3 categories of prose, talking about short story, novella, and novel. Are you following me now? Now, if you look at that word, novel, mentioning novel, it is used only when you are discussing prose. You move forward again, you talk about poetic terms. When you mention poetic terms are literary terms that are exclusively reserved for poetry as a genre of literature. Are you following me? Poetic terms are literary terms that are specially reserved when you are discussing poetry. Example, stanza. You don't mention stanza when you are talking drama. Neither do you mention stanza when you are talking prose. But when you are talking poetry, you should understand that stanza is used to break poems into beats. A group of lines, a line or group of lines make up one stanza. Is that clear? While I discussed sonnet shall I compare thee to a summer's day by William Shakespeare, I made you to understand that Shakespearean sonnet has 4 stanzas. 4, 4, 4, 2. That is 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines, and 2 lines. The first 4 lines, 4 line has 1 stanza. Second 4 line, another stanza. The third 4 lines, another stanza. Then the last 2 lines. Are you following me? All right. Now, we keep moving on. Now let's look at this. Character. For you to understand this, you should be able to understand these guys. But let's start with this. Who is a character? In literature, some people will just say a character is the person that acts in a play. You know? Have you not watched a play whereby, have you not read a story? Have you not watched a movie whereby we don't have human being in it, but they're acting? Have you watched something like that? We've seen stories that we have only animals acting. We've seen stories that we have only animated pictures, animated objects, animated beings acting. We've seen stories that we don't even have human beings, we have supernatural figures acting. That is more than human, whereby we have gods acting. Have you not watched a movie whereby you hear the voice of God in the film? Is God a human being? Then why are they saying that a character is the people that act in a work of art? Have you not watched a story whereby we have trees talking? You see the cloud talking. Then why are they saying characters are the people that act in a play? I've watched stories whereby animals are talking, they are the characters there. Even the wind, even fire can be a character. Or you don't understand? So how do we define character then? Simply put, characters can be defined as, or characters are those. They are those that reveal the mind of the author to the readers in a work of art. They are those that reveal the mind of the author to the readers in a work of art. Characters are those that reveal the mind of the author to the readers in a work of art. Have you seen that? Characters are those that reveal the mind of the author to the readers in a work of art. I will tell you how. That is one. How is it so? If you define that one alone, you are good to go. You want to read a book, you pick up the novel, and you say, James was 15 years old when his mother left him. The mother traveled for a journey, waited for her for 7 days, but she never came back. James became an orphan without him knowing, because it was later revealed that the mother passed away. They can ask you to talk about James' mother. If not for what the author has said, you wouldn't have known about this one. Then you see James crying, you see James' mother dead. The author had something in mind to write. He want to tell a story. Are you following me? He want to tell you, the reader, something. But how can he get to you? How can he reach you? It must be through the characters. It will be the characters that will be pouring out the mind of the author. Because the author cannot see you one-on-one. You cannot see George Orwell that wrote Things Fall Apart. That wrote, what's it called, Animal Farm. Neither can you see Chinua Achebe that wrote Things Fall Apart. You cannot see Wole Soyinka that wrote The Lion and Jewel. But Wole Soyinka wants to tell you the difference between the Western culture and the African culture. The difference between modern education and tradition. How will you know? He has to use Lakunle to talk to you. He has to use CD to talk to you. He has to use Baroka to talk to you. Are you following me? So the characters in a work of art, they reveal the mind of the author to the readers. That's one. What can we say again? Another definition of characters. Characters are those that can be seen as human beings, animals, animated figures. Are you following me? Supernatural beings, or things that speak words and perform actions in a work of art. There are those that speak and perform actions in a work of art. There are those that speak and perform actions in a work of art. Are you following me? There are those that speak and perform actions in a work of art. These are characters. How? As you are reading the story, look at this. They speak and perform actions in a work of art. I want to look at Redemption Road by Elmer Shaw. Elmer Shaw is Sierra Leonean, very fine author. Redemption Road is talking about the pain of war. The pain of war. When you read this, you see how Bendo Lewis had to go through torture because of war in Sierra Leone. You know, it's a fiction, but it can be seen based on what happened many years ago in Sierra Leone, talking about war. So Elmer Shaw had to creatively put this thing together for you to know what really happened then. Watch. Those that will be speaking in a work of art, they are the characters. It says, as people paid their last respects to Catherine May Tyler Lewis, as people paid their last respect to Catherine May Tyler Lewis, they were either reverently silent or they broke down and cried. The author is telling you. I believe you know that. But let me show you something here. It says, look at this. All around, Bendu saw that several elderly and sick people had also been left behind. A few struggled to follow the crowd. Others made no attempt and sat crying, praying, calling out to the able-bodied running past them. Hey, my brother. Hey, my son. Help me, oh, help me. I beg you. Look at this line. Hey, my daughter. Hey, my son. Help me, oh, help me. I beg you. Is it the author that is talking now or the character? The characters. Are you following me? Characters are those that speak or perform actions in a work of art. They are not only human beings. Are you following me? They can be animals. Have you watched King Kong? Is the main character a human being? No. Are you still there? Have you watched Moana? Are the main characters human beings? They are animated figures. They are not human beings. Are you following me now? Have you watched Animal Farm in movie form? You may not. Okay. Have you watched Mowgli? Have you watched Mowgli? If you watch Mowgli, major characters there, they are animals. Are you following me now? So, characters are not only human beings. Are you following me now? Put that at the back of your mind. Because today, you ask students, who is a character in a work of art? A character is the person that acts in a work of art. No, not only person. The chair can be a character. I've watched stories whereby the palm tree is dancing. Dancing palm tree. I've read about it. Are you following me? We've seen that. Is mermaid a human being? It's not a human being, it's a mermaid. But we've watched movies whereby mermaids are characters. Are demons human being? Is zombie a human being? But we've watched movies whereby they are characters. I've told you before, God is not a human being. But you've watched movies whereby you hear, my son, you hear the voice of that character. Good. If you've known what character is, look at all of this. There are also different things that you need to take note of. Are you following me? Take note of this. Watch. A dramatist personae. A dramatist personae are the characters that you see in drama. Is that clear? Dramatis personae are the characters in drama. What am I trying to say? Dramatis personae are the characters in drama. In a play, you can call it drama or play. The characters in drama are called dramatis personae. The characters in drama are called dramatis personae. How? Take note, dramatis personae, they are different from this one. Are you still there? But they are still almost the same thing. The author wants to take time to list this. Look at this. This guy and this guy, they are the same thing. But there's something we mention when we are watching movie. We mention this word, starring. Have you come across this before? You want to watch a movie and they'll say starring. Are you still there? Before we talk about this, take note today. This guy and this guy, they are the same thing. But they are dramatic terms, not general literary term. But this one is a general literary term. Character, you can see character in prose. You can see character in drama. You can see character in poetry. Are you still there? Prose, drama, poetry, we have characters there. But you don't call them, they cannot, if you like, you don't call them character in drama. How? If you are listing them. Let's look at this. This is Wole Soyinka's book, The Lion and the Jewel. Are you following me? Yes, Wole Soyinka's book, The Lion and the Jewel. Now, as Wole Soyinka wants to write, he has to do something. He says, dramatis personae. What are we to see here? He said dramatis personae. Lakunle, the village school teacher. Sidi, the village belle of Ilujinle. We have the first girl, the second girl, the third girl, the crowd. Baroka, the ballet of Ilujinle. Sadiku, Baroka's first wife. Favorite, Baroka's favorite wife. We have the wrestler. We have the schoolboys. We have a surveyor. We have the prisoners. Attendants on the ballet. We have the musicians. We have the dancers. We have the mummers. And we have the traders. These are all the characters that perform in this play. Are you following me? So this same author, if he likes, he would have written characters instead of dramatis personae. But he's trying to use dramatic term. Are you following me? Yes. So dramatis personae is the same thing as character. But character is general literary term. But dramatis personae is exclusively reserved for drama. Are you following me? So all the figures that will be performing, speaking, and performing actions in a play are called dramatis personae. All of them. Is that clear? You can also refer to them as casts. There are some drama you'll be looking at. Instead of them to write characters or dramatis personae, they will say casts. Is that clear? Look at this one again. Let Me Die Alone by John Kolosa Kabo, a Sierra Leonean playwright. Look at what he wrote. Characters in the play. Have you seen his own style now? So this man is as correct as this man. You get the point? So dramatis personae and characters, they are the same thing. When this man can help us out. When you pick some other play, you meet some other things. Okay? Aha. I'm happy. Look at this. This one is Look Back in Anger by John Osborne, a non-African play. Look at what he's writing. Casts in order of appearance. I don't know if you understand me now. We've seen casts. This one said casts. We've seen characters and we've seen dramatis personae. All of them are saying the same thing. But in prose, that is narrative work, you don't call them dramatis personae or cast. You call them characters. In poetry, you don't call them dramatis personae or cast. You call them characters. Are you following me now? So you've known this, you've known this, you've known this. Then talking about filmmaking. If you want to watch a movie, as it slots in the disc, or you want to watch the film, they write starring. While watching the movie, you see that we have plenty of characters and plenty of people, animals acting in the film, isn't it? But they'll say starring, they'll write only 5 people. Have you seen it like that? Why they do it like that? They said, among all the people that will be acting in this movie, only 5 are major superstars. Are you following? Only 5 in society as actors. The people they star are not characters. They are actors whose job is acting. For instance, let's take I'm looking at this movie, a Yoruba movie, very big one. The title of the movie is Jagun Jagun. If you've watched Jagun Jagun, you'll be seeing what they will write there. As they introduce the movie, they will say starring. The first name you see is Femi Adebayo. Are you following me? Femi Adebayo is an actor. Are you following me? Femi Adebayo is an actor. He is an actor. He is not a character. Femi Adebayo is an actor. But inside the movie, he's playing the role of Ogundiji. Is that clear? If Jagu Jagu movie has a book, what you will see, they write characters in the play. 1, Ogundiji. That's what you will see. But in a movie, they will say starring Femi Adebayo. What they mean is that this superstar you are seeing, he will be acting in the play in one of the characters. Are you following what I'm saying right now? So when you see starring, you won't see starring in a book, but you see starring in motion pictures, in movies, in films. Is that clear? So use starring to introduce human beings that are actors that have done a whole lot, contributed a whole lot into their career to extend their life as actors. Now they've gone so far that they are not like other actors. We have big boys like that in Nigeria. I'm talking about Pete Edochie. You cannot watch a film that we have Pete Edochie and they will not star him. You must star Destiny Etiko. You must star Regina Daniel now. You must star Zubi Michael. Or you don't know, you must star DK Deze. Or you don't understand. You must star Osita Yeme. You must star Odunlade Adekola. Or you don't know. You must star them. But while you're watching the movie, there are people that you will not star. Plenty of them. Then after the movie, at the end of the film, they will write casts. Then they will list everybody that performed in the story. True of us? Good. Now, believe you understand what we are trying to talk about. We move. Let's look at actor. An actor is not a character. Is that clear? An actor is not a character. An actor is a person, not an animal. If you watch movies where animals are acting, there is always an actor whose voice is being used to speak as if it is the animal that is talking. Do you understand? It's just unfortunate that in King Kong, the gorilla did not speak. If not, there will be human being whose voice is being used. There are lots of cartoons you watch. Go and listen. At the end of the film, you see that Eddie Murphy played so and so voice. You'll be mentioning actors that did 1 or 2 things, that their voice were used in the film. Is that clear? So an actor is an individual whose job is acting, who does acting for a living. Chiwetel is an actor. Arnold Schwarzenegger is an actor. Nicolas Cage of America is an actor. Is that clear? Plenty of them. All right. While we are making progress, it is an actor that you know. As I said yesterday, you don't know a character. You cannot touch a character. If I tell you now to touch, you have never seen Madame Yoko in your life. Madame Yoko is a major character in this story. You cannot see her. Her world is inside this book. She can never come out of this book. She's inside. A character does not die so long as the book is still alive. I don't know if you understand. A character does not die. See, the world will come to an end from generation to generation. So long as this book is still alive, the character will not die. Even if you tear your own book, another person is living. But an actor dies. We have lots of actors that have died. True of us, an actor dies. But the character is immortal. So if they ask you in your exam, what can you say about characters? Characters are immortal. They cannot die. I don't know if you get my point. Pick up a movie today, you will still see a character walking. You will still be moving inside the film. Pick up a book, you still read about the character. They don't die. Do you understand? But that your celebrity, that your superstar, you know. After some years, you will not hear of them again. We have plenty of them who have gone to rest. Do you understand? Actors die, characters live forever. Is that clear? Now, an actor assumes the role of a character in a story to make the story become lively. Do you understand? Now, we move to persona. Take note, this one is a dramatic term. This one is general literary term, dramatic term. Use actor only for drama. Then persona. The persona is the narrator in a poem. The persona is the storyteller in a poem. The persona is the storyteller in a poem. The persona is the storyteller in a poem. You see that? The persona is the storyteller in a poem. The person that tells you the story, you are the one reading the poem. But somebody is there talking. Look at this one written by William Morris. One of the longest poems in poetry, 849 lines. William Morris says, look at what we are saying. Look at it, says, you are going to tell me how many people we've seen in this story now. In a far country that I cannot name, and in a year, long ages passed away. A king there dwelt in wealth and ease and fame, and richer than the emperor is today. How many human beings here? How many? I said how many? He said one, he said two. How many people? Let's start again. In a far country that I cannot name, and in a year long ages passed away. A king there dwelt in rest and ease and fame, and richer than the emperor is today. How many people? He said two, he said three. I'll repeat. In a far country that I cannot name, and in a year long ages passed away, a king there dwelt in rest and ease and fame, and richer than the emperor is today. How many? We have four. The author, somebody wrote the story. The persona, The personal is the narrator, the person that is talking. The king is a character. The emperor is a character. It is the author that wrote the story. And the author picked a narrator to tell the story out. Is that clear? So now if you look at it very well, that narrator in poetry, you call such person persona. You don't call them narrator. Is that clear? For instance, in New York Shundare's My Business, as I said yesterday, the speaker says, the persona says, Chinwe went to work one morning only to find a job was gone. No query, no warning, no probe. Just one clean sack for a stainless record. Look at that. The persona is telling you, the reader, about Chinwe. I don't know if you understand now. So it may not, the persona may not be talking about himself. There are times people write about themselves. Is that clear? Some write about themselves. We'll talk about that later. Then the author. The author is the person that writes a story. A playwright is an author. A poet is an author. Author is a general literary term. Can be used for anybody. But if you want to talk about drama, you can say the author of this book is John Kolo Sakagbo. But if you want to narrow it down to only drama, you can say the playwright of this book is John Kolo Sakagbo. Clear. So playwright is dramatic term, but playwright is dramatic term, but author is general literary term. A poet is an author, but basically a poet, the word poet is also is a literary term, but not general. The word poet can be seen as a poetic term. Is that clear? All right. Now we are talking about characters. I've defined character. I've talked a whole lot about character. Now, let's see if there is something else we need to know. I've told you that no matter how you do it, characters don't die in this our world because they don't live in this our world. They live in the world of their stories. They can die in their stories, but they cannot die in this world. Are you following me? You cannot know in this world. They don't live in this world. You can never, let me see. Okay. As I keep saying, look at this man. If you look at Lakunle in this book, you cannot tell us where Lakunle is living in this world. He does not have a house in this world. Characters have their house in the world of their story. Is that clear? Take note of that one. Now, we move forward. Let's look at types of characters. Types of characters. I want to start with this one. Protagonist. Let's start with protagonist. 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 Now, in literature, the protagonist is a major character of which everything about the story revolves around him. Everything about the story revolves around him. That's a protagonist. A major character of which everything about the story revolves around him or her. Everything about the story revolves around the protagonist. Everything about the story revolves around the protagonist. That's a protagonist. Simply put, the protagonist is the most important character in a story. He is the most important character in the story. If you remove the protagonist, you have scattered the story. He is the most important character in the story. The protagonist is the most important character in the story. Now, the protagonist can be fighting for good or for bad. Are you following me? The protagonist can be good or evil. The protagonist can be wicked or good. Most people just believe that the protagonist is a good man. No. Let's look at this. You want to watch a movie or you want to read a book, and you see a king that is very heartless, very wicked, killing people, doing some sort of wicked things. Example, the character Ogundiji in Jagun. Are you following me? Very wicked, very heartless in the story. He's the protagonist, very wicked. The protagonist is the first man in the story. The first man in the story. Are you following? The first man in the story. If they ask you, mention the characters in this story, it is the protagonist that will come to your mind first. They are the number one. The protagonist is the most important character in the story, of which everything about the story revolves around him. Are you following me now?
Yes, sir.
Number two is antagonists. 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 Number two is antagonists. When you say antagonist is also a very important character in the story. But this type of character is always against the protagonist. Is that clear? This type of character is always against the boss. In Pidgin English, actor means the protagonist. Boss means the antagonist. But as literature and English students, we don't know anything like actor and boss. What we know is protagonist and antagonist. If you watch Jagu, we have the protagonist who is a wicked man, and we have the antagonist who is a good man this time. The antagonist is what the character we call Botija. Are you following? You need to look for a way and watch that film. Shout out to Femi Adebayo, the biggest, one of the finest filmmakers in Nigeria, internationally acclaimed filmmaker. He did that film, trying to talk about struggle for greatness, trying to talk about, strength, trying to talk about, in that story, you'll be looking at courage. Do you understand? You'll be looking at the fact that you cannot oppress or eventually kill or destroy the good man. There's always a way to rescue the good man. Are you following me? Now, if you look at that film, Femi Adebayo's Jagu, Femi Adebayo himself, who is an actor, take note, Femi Adebayo is an actor, a Nollywood actor. He's not a character, but he had to assume the role of Ogundiji in Jagun. Meaning that you cannot touch Ogundiji. You cannot see Ogundiji. But you can touch Femi Adebayo. You can see him. I don't know if you get my point. Ogundiji can never exist on this earth. He only exists in the world of that their movie, in that their own world. That's where you see him. You cannot see him physically. You cannot see Femi Adebayo moving on the road now and say, see Ogundiji. It does not look like him in the film. Costumes and makeup has changed him. If you see him now, you won't know he's the one that played that role. Are you still there? All right. Now, talking about types of characters. I've talked about protagonist. Antagonist is that character who is always against the protagonist. Is that clear? Now, it means that antagonist may not be a bad man. The protagonist can be the bad man while the antagonist is the good man, but it does not want the protagonist. How? I've told you in Jagu Jagu film, you see that Ogundiji is the wicked man, but is the most important character, the first character, the major, the best, that's the biggest one there. He is the protagonist. But Botija came to the scene. We must put an end to this your tyranny. Is that clear? Botija is the antagonist that never agrees with the protagonist. Is that clear now? We move. Another character, number 3, we have what we call a villain. Villain. V-I-L-L-A-I-N. Villain. V-I-L-L-A-I-N. V-I-L-L-A-I-N. Villain. A villain is a very wicked, heartless character that derives pleasure in the downfall of other characters in a work of art. Are you following me? A villain is a very wicked character that derives pleasure in the pains and sufferings of other characters in a work of art. Let me just mention Ogundiji again, though it's not the only villain we know. If you watch Jagu Jagu, Ogundiji is a villain. If you read Macbeth by William Shakespeare, Macbeth himself is a villain. You can see him taking the knife, the sword, stabbing Duncan, a very good king. He killed him. On his way to kill the son of Banquo, but he has to end up killing Banquo, but the son escaped. Now, you can see people see him destroying. A villain is a character that derives pleasure in the downfall or suffering of other people. If you read this book, Second Class Citizen, by Buchi Emecheta, Second Class Citizen by Buchi Emecheta, you agree with me that Francis Obi is a villain. Francis Obi is not even perturbed. He does not feel anything when the wife, Ada, is going through pains. He's so wicked and heartless to the extent that he does not provide for the family, does not provide for the children or the wife. In fact, the little transistor radio he buys with his money, he hides it so that nobody in the family will touch it or play it. Can you see people like that? Very wicked man. At the end of it all, the last straw that broke the camel's back is that this man had to burn the child of the wife. How? The book that the woman is writing. She said, I want to become an author one day. And she started writing a book. She took the manuscript to show her friends. And they said, wow, this is beautiful. If you can publish this, you make money. Only for her to go out one day, coming back home, start smelling something burning, get to the house, see that the husband has burnt her book. And he says, so that means you can kill my child because this book is my unborn child. What happened? The last time, the woman said, I want to file a divorce. I need to leave this marriage. Only for this man to burn the certificate of wedding, the marriage certificate. They got to the court. They said, in London, they said, you know what? The court said, man, if you are married to this woman, you must be taken care of. Even if you are divorced, you must be giving them allowances for feeding and upkeep. The man said, we were never married. The woman said, we were married. Going home to look for the certificate to show them, certificate has been burnt. That's a villain. I don't know if you get my point. A villain is a heartless character, a very wicked character that derives pleasure in the pain and suffering of other characters. Are you with me? That's a villain. We move to the next one. We have a jester. That's another type of character. A jester. I've talked about protagonists. We've talked about antagonists. I've mentioned villain. I've mentioned jester. If you don't want to call him a jester, you call him a clown. If you don't want to call him a jester, you call him a clown. Jester or clown. A jester in any work of art is an unserious character. A jester is this character whose action and words amuse the audience or readers. It's a character whose actions and words amuse the audience or readers. A character whose actions and words amuse the audience or readers. Actions and words amuse the audience or reader. Are you following me now? The way they act will just make you to start laughing. They are funny characters. In some parlance, we call them comedians. Say this man is a comedian. But in drama, you call them jesters or clown. So talking about types of character, a jester or clown is a character whose actions and words amuse the audience. Another type of character, we have a faceless character. Faceless. Faceless character. Can call them faceless characters. Can call them nominal characters. Can call them in absentia characters. These type of characters too, most time, they are characters that you can never see with your eyes in the story. If you are reading a book, do you see characters with your eyes? Yes, we see them. Yes, what I call it imagination. You see them. Because they have to talk about them, you can talk about them. You see them. But there are those that you cannot see at all. When you read, let me see. This is Unexpected Joy at Dawn. Unexpected Joy at Dawn. It's a book written by a Ghanaian author, Alex Ayiri. Use this book to talk about the need for countries to be united. The book will be telling you stories about how Nigerians were chased out by the Ghanaians in their own country, and how Ghanaians were chased out from Nigeria, and the pain that they have to go through here. Are you following me now? Now, if you are reading this book, the narrator makes us understand, even Nitake himself. Nitake is a character in the story. We are made to understand that we see Nitake in the story, but he said, according to Nitake and the sister, Mama, they make the audience, the readers understand that when their mother and father were running away from Ghana, running to Nigeria, because they are Nigerians, but they reside in Ghana. And if you see Nitake's face, they put mark, Yoruba mark, tribal mark, you will know that it's a Nigerian. So all his stay in Ghana is with fear and all that, because the tribal mark are betraying him. Are you following me now? Now, at the point when the Nigeria must go was so strong, the parents decided to run away from Ghana with Mama Sansi. They leave only Nitake in Ghana with the grandmother. On their way to Lagos, to Nigeria, their mother and father died on the way. We never see them. We don't see them in this. We did not see them in the story. But if they ask you, as a literal student, what happened to, what can you say about the parents of Nitake? You say, oh, they love their children so much, but it's just unfortunate they never made it to Nigeria because they died along the way. Did you see them? Didn't see them in the story. They just told us that our parents died. So it's kind of character like that that you do not see in the story. It's called nominal character or faceless character. They don't have face. Or in absentia character, you won't see them. They act in absentia. They act in absence. You don't see them. Is that clear? For instance now, talking about religion, most time we pray, Father, we thank you for everything you've done. That Father, God Almighty, is there, but we cannot see him. He's faceless. But you don't understand, you can't see him. But it's very important, controlling the affairs of men. So a faceless character, you may not see them, but they are also important. Do you understand? They can just ask you now. Round characters. Now, the round character is the opposite of the static or flat character. You can call them round or dynamic characters. Round or dynamic characters. Round or dynamic characters. Round or dynamic characters. Now, these are characters that change as the plot of the story unfolds. As the story is changing, the characters are changing. As the story is changing, the characters are changing. They grow, they die, they are transformed, they give birth to children, they make money. Do you understand? They become poor again. They will start wealthy, but along the line, they become poor. Are you following me? That's a round character. You can never predict them. As the story starts, you won't know what will happen to them. I don't know if you understand. Let's go back to this, talking about, if you watch Jesus of Nazareth, the story will begin when they gave birth to him as a little child. And now we'll see John the Baptist talking about this child. We'll see many people coming to pay homage to him who never knew that he would be nailed to the cross. I don't know if you understand. That's a round character. You cannot predict what will happen next. We just see them enjoying life. All of a sudden, something will just happen. Do you understand? You cannot tell how it will happen. They are round. Let's talk about roundness. Let's look at this thing now. Let's say this is a ball. This is a ball. This is a ball. This is a ball. I believe you are seeing the front. Can you see here? You cannot see here. Can you see what is inside? You cannot see the inside. When something is round, you don't know where it's starting from and where it's ending. You don't know how the inside looks like. That is called a round character. That's how round characters look like. You cannot tell who they really are. It's just that as the story is changing, they will also be changing alongside. A round character will start as a housemaid and will end up marrying the owner of the house. I don't know if you understand. But a flat character will be a housemaid. I watched one movie, still on my phone. I watched this movie. There's this man that is a cleaner in the house, a gardener, and he has to bring the sister into the house. He said, Maoga, this young girl needs a job, and she's very hardworking. She can cook, she can do it. The master had to employ that girl as his cook. Are you still there? Employs this girl as his cook. And while this girl becomes the cook, all of a sudden, the man falls in love with this girl. Are you still there? Along the line, the man buys a car for this girl. Since this gateman, since this gardener has been in the house, he has never entered the room of the man one day. But this girl can even sleep on the bed of that master. Are you following the game? That one remains a flat character. The master buys a car for this girl. That one does not have a car. Are you following the game? That girl keep growing. She started wearing good clothes, using good hair, doing everything, making money. That one remains a flat character. But that does not mean that flat character is not important. Because without that flat character, that girl wouldn't have entered the family. Or you don't get the point. If you ask me, it's very important in the story. Without him, who will clean the master's garden? I don't know if you get my point. But it remains the same from beginning till the end. Flat character. You can predict what will happen to him. Look at him now. He's coming to a guy. The man will shout at him now. And he's coming, come on, get out. I didn't call you here. That is flat. You can predict and it will happen like that. But the round characters, you cannot predict. Is that clear? We move forward. There's another type of character. We call them the major characters. You see, the major characters are very important characters that you cannot do without. They are very important characters that you cannot do without. If you take them out of the story collapses. Are you following me? If you take them out of the story collapses. No, just try now. Try and remove Ada from this story. The story will die. Remove Bendu Lewis from this story. The story will die. Remove Jimmy Potter from this story. The story will die. Remove Madam Yoko from this story. The story will die. Remove Sidi and Lakule from this story. The story will die. Are you following me? That's how it works. Let's look at life. Let's look at life. Look at your family, for instance. The family whereby the father is the breadwinner, doing everything. Let the father die. The story will shake. Or you don't understand? That's major character. So the major character is a very important character in a story. Without that person, that character rather, everything goes down. You have all watched Moana, have you? Moana, Moana is calling you. The village of Motulu is calling you. The dancers are practicing. I like that movie too. Most time if I watch cartoon, my students say, sir, you are watching cartoon. I don't watch cartoon, what will I gain? Because, that's life. You must watch this thing as literature people so that you can know what is really happening, because cartoon is also a form of literary work. Very fine. Now, look at Moana's story. Is Moana a flat character? She's very round. She started as an ordinary little girl that does not know anything, little baby, and she has to grow. Isn't it? She grows to become a heroine that will rescue the village. Is Maui a flat character? Maui is also a round character too. Or you don't understand? Let's say, how did it start? Started by stealing from Tefiti. Abi? Stole the heart of Tefiti and went on exile to suffer, going through pain there. But at the end, if you look at him in that story, he's a pained man. I cause pain in the world. But at the end, he lives a happy life. Because Tefiti had to pardon him, give him a new hook. Isn't it? Give him a new boat, and life changes for them. So, but if you look at, let me see. If you look at Moana's mother is a flat character. She remains the same from beginning of the story to the end. Or you don't understand? But Moana's grandmother, is a round character. Because at a point we didn't see her again. She has to die. A flat character must change. but a round character will remain, a flat character will remain the same, but a round character must change in a story. The gods are not to blame by Olarotimi. I talked about that yesterday. If you look at that book, Olarotimi that is Odewale is a very round character. Started as a little baby they just gave birth to, grew up to become a king. He's the one that still killed himself. He stabbed him. That is, he had to kill himself. He caused his own downfall. You understand? So round characters, they don't remain the same. All right. They are also, talking about major characters. All these guys have mentioned, all these characters, they are major characters. All of them. They are very important in the story. Moana's mother may be flat, but she's important. She's the one that encouraged Moana to embark on this journey. How did she do it? When Moana was about running, going for her life to pursue a vision, we see that the mother had to gather fruits and food, put in the bag for her. Are you still there? That's a good one. So they may be minor, which is the opposite of major. They may be minor characters, but they are important. A minor character is that character that you can do without in the story. Without that character, the story continues. Watch some movies. Watch, have you watched Prison Break? If you watch Prison Break, we have plenty prisoners in the story. Plenty of them. Plenty. Have you watched Woman King? We have plenty fighters, plenty of those girls. There are very many. But we have not more than 4 or 5 warriors that we know. If out of the 200 fighters, if you remove 10, the story will still stand. Or you don't get my point. They are characters. They are important to an extent. But if you take them out, the story will not shake. You won't even know if they remove anybody. You won't know whether they remove anybody. Are you following me? Aha. Plenty of them. If you watch movies, you see people in the party, in the club. Plenty of them. They are nothing. We just need them to make sure, according to stories, in a party there must be crowd. We need to make up the crowd. But these characters that are minor characters, they are also important. They are also important. Do you understand? So take note of that. There's another character that I need to take note of. Yes, we are. That's one. If you mention extra nice, let's call them. That one is dramatic term. That's dramatic term, not general literary term this time. When you mention characters, characters are general literary terms. Can be used for drama, prose, and poetry. But when you talk about casts, talk about dramatic personnel, even actor, they are dramatic terms. Then extras are those characters in movie, in a play, that are not major characters. Not that they are useless characters, they are minor characters. If you take some of them out, the story remains. Even there are some stubborn stories that if you take all of them out, the story remains. Take all of them out, the story remains. To still stand strong, we can still understand the story. Is that clear? So it happens like that too. They are also known as extras too. Those plenty characters in my parlance in Nigeria, we call them wakapas in Nollywood. With or without them, we are still moving. But they are also important. Take note of that. Tragic hero. The tragic hero or heroine is this character that uses his own hand to cause his own downfall. Are you following? A character that causes his own downfall by himself is a tragic hero. You use your hand to cause your own downfall. You're a tragic hero. Are you following me? You use your hand to cause your own downfall. You are a tragic hero. If you look at this book, Let Me Die Alone. Let Me Die Alone by John Colosa Kagbo. Let Me Die Alone by John Colosa Kagbo. Let me look at this. Madam Yoko, Madam Yoko says, my Lord, wait. Wait, I cannot leave the girls. They need me. That's what the woman is saying. The husband says, your girls may need you, but your husband needs you now. Of what better use is a woman to a man? We are seeing two characters talking. Then I jump down to somewhere else. Look at what Madam Yoko is saying here. It says, let me remind you, my husband. You must say, but my Lord, do you think I'm a calabash, a cooking pot, or an axe to be used so indiscriminately? No, my Lord. I'm a woman, but I'm also human. You say you cannot leave the chiefdom in my hands because I am a woman, but are there not other women who have been ruling chiefdoms successfully for many years? Take Yoya, Nema of Galu, Fangawa of Wando, Pandat Belu of Lepolama. You see it? Look at all of them. He said, look at Nancy Cockler in Chevroland. Are they not good rulers? What was she trying to say? The husband said, listen, I wanted to leave the chiefdom in your hands, but you are a woman. Senehu, this our kingdom is not a place for women. If I leave this place today, I don't think you can carry this load. The woman said, I'm a strong woman. I can lead. While they were here discussing, some days later, the white man enters, the governor. Hey, you have committed a kind of crime, which I will punish you for. They called the soldiers, called his son, the king himself. The white man called the soldiers of the king, flog him, and they beat the king mercilessly. In the process of trying to treat the king, another person, that is the in-law to the king, Lamboy, the wife's brother, Lamboy, and Musa, the chief priest, they poisoned the water that they give to the king to drink. Because Lamboy has been eyeing the chiefdom, and they killed the king by putting alligator gall into the water, and he drink. When he's drinking, he said, they've poisoned me. They've poisoned me. And he died. The moment he died, they tried to play one or two tricks. Madam Yoko enters. Say, hey, I know that my husband was poisoned, but from now on, my husband said it before he died. He said, Yoko, the chiefdom, take over the chiefdom. That's her dream, and she becomes the chief. Now, becoming the chief, the problem starts. At a point, they set her up again to kill her. They have to punish, they bring Geneva, a little child. We see Lamboy and Musa kill Geneva, bury Geneva in a shallow grave, and they tell lie that it's Yoko that has used Geneva for her own medicine, for her charm. At the end, Yoko could not bear this thing. At the point, the white men had to come. They said, Yoko, they want to punish her, to disgrace her like her husband. Said, no, I cannot take this one. Fene, my maids, go to the forest. Check so and so part of the forest. You will see in Dinaba tree. Pluck the root, bring the root of that tree. Bring it to me. And they bring it. Madam, this is poison. What do you want to use for? No. Bring the water out of that tree, of that root. Put it in a cup, in a calabash. Let me have it. Say, madam, you don't want to die. You don't need to drink this. No, let me have it. I cannot just sit here and see shame. They made my husband see shame. Instead of my enemy to make me see shame, let me go. And she drinks that poison. And say, before she drinks, say, please, nobody should use this calabash. Throw it away. I don't want anything to. The servant said, no, madam, I want to drink with you. He said, no. I enjoyed the taste of leadership alone. I enjoyed kingship alone. I've seen power in ruling. I've enjoyed the wealth in ruling. If I'm to die, let me die alone. And that's where the title came from. Let Me Die Alone by John Kolo Sakabo. And she dies. That type of character is a tragic heroine. A character that uses her hand to cause her own downfall. When the husband was saying, don't become the chief, she refused to listen. And look at what happened at the end. Are you following me now? She's just trying to let us understand that whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. But I keep, as audience, we are the ones that have read this book, watched the story. I keep saying that this woman if it's a man that is in this position, the man wouldn't have died for nothing. A man has the strength to still carry on. Look at the husband. When he was being punished, flogged down, he did not poison himself. But the woman, they've not even flogged you. You are poisoning yourself. So the woman has to shout out to women all over the world. Sorry about that, but a man would have been sustained. There's this strength in the inside of a man. John Kolosakabo tries to tell a story. I've told you, the audience, you have power. The audience, you are the ones that have to decide the success or failure of a story. I don't know how successful this story is. The man tried to tell a story that women should be given the chance to rule. That's the essence of this book. But they've given them the chance and they throw it away. Look at it. They've made you a ruler now, and you abandon the kingdom. And if this story should have part 2, the enemy Lamboy will take over the throne. I don't know if you understand. Look at that. I'll be coming back, but let me just see how we can round off this. But listen to me. I've talked about this, talked about the tragic hero. Are you following me? After the break, I'll be coming again, and we'll look at something else. We are analyzing literary terms. We have loads and loads of literary terms. So as literature and English students, if you can take a grasp of all these terms, know them. If you can know them, fine. Know them strong. Literature will be a walkover for you whenever you come across anything in your exam. Are you following me? Yeah. So call it a wrap right now from this end. And I'll meet you in 20 minutes time. God. All right. It's a wrap.
All right, viewers.
Yes, I go back. So I'll go back.
Okay.
So yeah, this thing. So you take this one.
Glucose base.
Energy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time to rest a bit. So after 50 minutes, we come back. It's a 4-hour thing, back to back. A 4-hour thing. After 4 hours, we have to stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're still live. We're still live. We'll be back on Facebook shortly, but our YouTube is still live. And we are recording all the activities here. We are recording every teachings here. We are recording everything from the first day till the last day. And right now, we have covered not less than 22 hours. Yes, we have covered not less than 22 hours and some minutes. We have covered not less than 22 hours and some minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still here. We're still here. We're still here. And it's all about 220 hours of teaching literature in English. 220 hours of teaching literature in English. We're still here, ladies and gentlemen. Teach Out of 2025 by OMAJUWA CHRIS. Upon live here in Wari. Wari in the Kailas. And as we talk on, I say, ladies and gentlemen, we're
Baba, sit down now. You want to find a chair for me?